All right, I ordered a gun today, and I guess I want to make a little video about why I did and what my thinking was and who I ordered from and so forth. And as I've mentioned in some past videos, I really like concealed weapons. I really like the idea of getting the smallest thing in every way. And basically, currently I have 4 guns. This will make my 5th. I have a Ruger LCP, which is a little tiny 380 I just put a video review of. I have a AR, Ruger AR 5.56. I have a Glock 19, which if you don't know is it's somewhat compact, but basically a full-size double stack Glock 9mm, 15 rounds I believe. I have a little North American Arms Mini 22 Magnum. Maybe in another day, once I get this new gun in, I'll do a video with all 5 guns. And each one has separate reasons. Up until recently, I also had a 12 gauge. What was the name of it? A Winchester SXP shotgun, which I really liked. Really slick looking gun. The only thing I didn't like about it was that it only holds 4 rounds in the magazine, which I mean, it's not a big deal, but the standard for those types of pump defense shotguns are 5 rounds. And because it was imported or some sort of goofy regulation, it only had 4. I mean, I bought it several years ago now. Maybe things have changed since then. Anyways, I recently sold that, which I did really like the gun. And the main thing I really liked the gun is it looked cool. There's a $199 Maverick 88 security self-defense shotgun that I would get if I ever got something to replace it. But it just doesn't look as neat. It just had it's a little more upscale of not a whole lot, you know. It's probably, to buy it brand new, it'd probably be $300 instead of $200 that a Winchester security is. But mainly it just looked really cool. It had a nice, like, I don't know how to describe it, but a nice, neat black finish. Everything about it was black, and it just looked a little higher end and nice. But anyways, I sold that. For me, I'm not a huge gun nut, and I sort of always feel guilty, almost even about this. After this purchase, I will have 5 different guns, and I feel like I don't need that. I don't want to tie up a whole lot of money in guns, you know, because I'm not that into them. I don't shoot that much. Matter of fact, I shoot very little, but I'm about to get a membership to a range and shoot more. But yeah, so I don't want to have like 20 guns, because knowing me, I would eventually end up with that, and you know, I don't use them enough. Even 5 is kind of bugging me. I'd kind of rather have 4. I'd kind of rather get rid of 1, but I'm not sure which one I would get rid of, so I probably won't. Now, each one has a different reason. The AR is for like ultimate home defense, you know, above and beyond a pistol. I've got plenty of pistols now. And also just for fun shooting, and it's, you know, big, reliable. You can shoot 10 minutes. You know, I've talked before about how I don't think it's a good idea to shoot a lot of rounds through these tiny pistols. Well, at least not the LCP and the North American Arms Mini that I have. These other guns, like Glock's no problem. You can fire a Glock all day. You know, it's not going to hurt it. But yeah, just because ARs, the main reason I got the AR, it's very shallow, but it looks awesome. That's it. And, you know, it's just cool to be able to be like, yeah, I got an AR to defend my house, you know. It's kind of, and it's fun. They you know, they're fun to shoot. They don't recoil much. They're powerful. They have 30-round mags. You know, you can get every kind of accessory, although that's more money, and I'm not going to pump that into it. But what I needed, one thing is car carry is legal in the state where I live, which means that I'll just say it, it's Texas. You can legally carry a gun concealed in your car with no permit whatsoever, etc., etc. This was a law that was actually passed by the legislature a few years ago. Of course, the anti-gunners had a fit over it, and of course, you know, it was going to be a bloodbath in the streets. And of course, that's with every time that they overreact, nothing happened, you know. But yeah, Texas is very lenient on the gun laws. In fact, they have some sort of law that you can take your gun to your place of employment, not on your person. In order to do that, you need a concealed carry permit. But like basically, employers, I guess a lot of employers banned people from carrying guns in their cars in the parking lot. So Texas passed a law that said you're not allowed to do that. You can't ban guns from cars in your parking lot if you're an employee. So that just shows you the way Texas thinks. It's pretty awesome. Great state of Texas, no doubt. Anyways, where I was coming from this is I have the LCP now, which I intend to pocket carry that. Well, once I get my permit and everything, to be honest, I probably won't carry that much, if at all. It's like my dad said, he got his concealed carry permit a few years ago, and he was like, honestly, there's not a whole lot of need for it where we live. There's not a lot of crime. We don't live in a big city, And that's the way I feel about it too. But it'll be nice to have the option and just feel like I'm being cool every once in a while or whatever. So the LCP 380 is planning to be my main carry gun, and I'm planning to pocket carry it. But if I want to go even way more easy to carry, if less effective, I have the 22 mag North American Arms mini revolver I have. Now that thing, talk about easy to carry. I mean, I weighed it once. It weighs literally like 6.2 ounces, and I think it's pretty effective. A lot of people will say, "Oh, 22 mag, it's a joke for self-defense." I wouldn't want to get shot by one. I'm not saying I love it, and it's great self-defense, but I think it would be a hell of a lot more effective than people would give it credit for. It'll put out a 45 grain bullet, the load I have, and actually, my dad has a chronograph. We chronographed once, and it was averaging over 900 feet per second, I believe, from the. And I've seen YouTube videos, people shoot it, and it'll go through a 2x4, all kinds of stuff. It's pretty powerful. It's like half as powerful as a 380. I mean, it'll do a 45 grain bullet at like 900 plus feet per second. The Hornady critical defense 22 mag rounds I have, out of like a 1 1/4 inch barrel. I mean, it's a tiny gun. And a 380 will do about, I believe, like a 90 grain video around 800, 900 FPS. So you're talking about twice as big of a bullet, the same speed, about twice as much energy coming out of 3. So, I mean, look at it that way. It's probably something like half as powerful as a 380. So I think it's a lot better for us as a self-defense round than people will give it credit for. But, by the way, it's a single action revolver, and it is tiny. Like I said, I'll have to do a video to really show it. So I have a couple carry guns, but the LCP is just a little weak. Really, I needed a truck gun, a so-called truck gun. I want a gun I could put under the seat well in my truck and just have it always be there. There's, like I said, there's an actual term people use for that, a truck gun, and that's exactly what it is. But so I was originally planning to get like another full-size cheapo double-stack 9 like my Glock. I was actually looking at the Smith & Wesson SDVE, I believe it stands for Value Edition 9mm. And that's basically a big Glockish 9mm. You can get it for $2.99. It's a very cheap gun. You can even get it retail, like say Academy, for $2.99. You don't even have to find it on sale at some gun shop or a gun show for that. You can get it at Academy for $2.99. And you can get it online for even a little less, like $2.59 and so on. And it's reliable and everything. It's a little bit of a rough gun, as you'd expect for $2.99. It's not going to be the most polished gun in the world, but it's a Smith & Wesson. It's reliable. It holds 16 in the mag. It's a good size, full size gun. So that's one I was looking at. But the more I thought about it, the more I slowly started to think I would love a tiny 9 that could possibly, to me, I talked about this in my LCP video, but to me it's pocket carry or bust for concealed carry, because I just feel like anything in waistband or outside waistband either way is just too uncomfortable and too protruding and jams your skin, and it just seems like a non-starter to me. I'm saying pocket carry or bust. So I thought, as long as I'm getting a truck gun, it would be better to kill two birds with one stone and get one that maybe could also be used as pocket carry. And I think my LCP 380 would be my main pocket carry gun because it's so much smaller, but something that's tiny enough that you could possibly pocket carry, or if you thought you were going to get into a situation where trouble was possible, I don't know, you were going to a bad part of town or something that you could even stick in your waistband, and it was very tiny, that being key. Not a full size like the Smith & Wesson I was looking at, but something very tiny. I started thinking, now this wouldn't be as good as a truck gun for the sole reason that all these tiny 9s have small mags. They usually typically have anywhere from 6 to 7 rounds in the mag. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, which I strongly considered, I like, one thing I like about it apparently has a little bit of a staggered mag, very slightly. It's kind of like single stack plus. It's a single stack, but they're slightly offset, and it also has like a grip extension. It comes with 2 mags. One of the mags is a 7-rounder. One comes with a little bit of a grip extension. It's an 8-rounder, which is best in class, so to speak, for single stack 9s that I've seen, at least small ones. You know, the Glock is, I think, only 6, and most other of these little 9s are 6 or 7, maybe. Ruger LC9, I believe, is 7. The Glock might even be just 6. The Glock 43, I think it is. They're single stack 9. So yeah, the extra round on the shield was really appealing to me, because you figure 8 in the mag, you put 1 in the chamber, you got 9. You know, that's getting up there. I strongly considered the shield, also mainly because Smith & Wesson has a $75 rebate going on right now, and they're available online for around $300 if you shop. And so you're looking at, you know, $215 some of these places. I saw the one in particular. I started delving more into it, and I figured out that I needed the no thumb safety version, or wanted. They make a thumb safety version of M&P Shield 9mm and a no thumb safety version. Of course, I want the no thumb safety version just because I don't want a thumb safety. Not only that, but the no thumb safety version turns out to be lighter. It's not, and for me, again, I'm kind of obsessive about this. Every ounce counts. And the thumb safety M&P 9 is 20.8 ounces unloaded, but with the mag in it. The no thumb safety version is 19.0 ounces. So I definitely wanted to save the 1.8 ounces besides and get the no thumb safety. Anyways, Palmetto State Armory, which is a major dealer, put up just a couple days ago an M&P Shield for $289 out the door. I think maybe they have like a $10 shipping fee or $9.99 processing fee, quote unquote. Love that. Some of these websites will do free shipping, $9.99 processing fee, you know. Okay, but still, even $10 shipping is nothing. Not bad at all. It's not like some sites charge you $30 for shipping, and they're gouging you on it. You know, they're making a big profit off of that. But so yeah, so I strongly consider the Shield at $289, the no thumb safety version, the lighter version that I wanted. You know, saves you that 1.8 ounces, saves you that thumb safety. I can't imagine the thumb safety itself is responsible for that whole 1.8 ounce weight savings, so I'm not sure what else it is, but it is what it is. I double checked the specs on their website and everything a bunch of times. The no safety version is 1.8 ounces lighter for no particular reason, I guess. And that was big to me. I did really like the 8 rounds. I think the gun is ugly, very ugly. It kind of looks to me like a Glock or something. And I used to think Glocks were cool, but now I think they're pretty ugly. But I don't know, it sort of grows on you in a weird, ugly way. I don't know how to put that. Like when I started thinking I might get an M&P Shield, it kind of started to grow on me. Like, it's ugly, but I kind of like the way it looks. Does that make any sense whatsoever? No, but just go with it. But talk about a deal. Okay, so it's $289 minus the $75 rebate. It's $214. I mean, holy smokes, you cannot beat that. That's a Smith & Wesson, you know. Now, I believe there's always a little bit more. I think there might have been the $10 processing fee, which kicked the cost up to about $225. And then, of course, I have to pay the $15. The dealer I use only charges the $15 FFL transfer fee. So it probably would have come out to like $240 out the door. Still a tremendous deal, you know. So it was very tempting, though, for the Shield, and over the last day, I was almost about to ready to pull the trigger on that Shield. But basically, then I decided on this gun, and the reason is I had been looking at for some reason I had got it in my mind. I've been looking and agonizing over these small 9mm for the past month or so, trying to pick one out. It was between like the Ruger LC9. The Shield I didn't seriously consider until a couple days ago with all these crazy rebates and stuff. It just became so tempting. And this Kahr was another one, but I was looking at something called the Kahr CW9, which is bigger. It's a 3.6-inch barrel instead of 3-inch like this. And for some reason I had it in my head wrong that the CW9 was the smallest Kahr 9. And I didn't realize they made this thing, the CM9, that is way smaller than the CW9. Not way, but significantly. As soon as I realized that, essentially, I figured I had to have the CM9. And yeah, it's the smallest gun in this 9mm single stack class that I found. It's smaller than the LC9S. You know, not a ton, but it is, and lighter too. It only weighs 15.9 ounces unloaded with the magazine, which the Ruger LC9 is at 17.0. The M&P Shield with no thumb safety is at 19.0. So I believe the Glock is maybe at 17 point something, but it's a little bigger too. So yeah, this is pretty much that I see the smallest 9 you can get that I know of out of major brands. You know, it's a little smaller than the Glock 43. It's fairly significantly smaller than the M&P Shield, which is still a small gun. It's smaller than the Ruger LC9. You know, so those were the main contenders, and it's smaller than all of them. It's smaller than the other Kahr, the CW9. It's the smallest gun, you know. So I probably should have had some more. Look at that gun, boy. Probably should have had some more sort of comparison videos, whatever. But oh well. But yeah, look at these specs: 4.0 inch height, 5.42 inch length overall. They're all significantly less than others. Like I believe the Shield is a 6.0 inch. You know, you're talking pretty significant difference in a 5.4 inch length and a 6.0 inch length. And it's like that for all the specs straight down the line. So that's why I want this car. As far as reliability, I'm not worried. I think all the small 9s are pretty reliable. I may get a lemon, but I was looking at the Buds reviews and almost everybody says it's very reliable. So yeah, and then I wanted to say a little bit about why I ordered it from Buds. Mainly because there's this guy I don't like on YouTube named Yankee Marshall who made a video about how he hates Buds, and I took it into basically his thing was that he used his credit card only one time to buy from Buds, and somehow the number got stolen, and they were racking up fraudulent charges, and Buds was the only place he'd ever used that credit card. So he knew it was them, but that doesn't mean it was them. It can also be their bank or their credit card processor or something like that. Anyways, apparently he made a post on a big gun forum talking about it, and Bud's employees came in getting mad at him saying, oh, Visa never contacted us about this, what are you talking about, and kind of attacking him, and you know, and so that's why he hates Buds, because it was very unprofessional, and you know, a lot of Buds employees were ganging up on him and kind of questioning his integrity, I guess. And he said, look, well, I don't know if Visa must have found the problem was in the bank or the credit card I don't know, whatever you call it, credit card processor, rather than you guys. You know, I don't know, but he was very angry at Buds for basically attacking him, and he hates Buds now, and he refuses to buy them from them, and he hates them, so on and so forth. He also doesn't like how they apparently auction guns. I see their little e-gunner thing up here. And he says, like, if they have a popular gun and they have a bunch of people on a wait list for it, they'll take it and auction it off to squeeze every last dime out of it, rather than giving it to their people who are on the back order list. You know, he doesn't. That's what he claims. I don't know if they really do that or what. You know, he thinks that's a terrible thing. So and the other thing he was bitching about, he might have a little point here, is they advertise the cash discount price. According to him, that was the front and center price they used. And he's like, we're on the internet. Nobody's paying cash. You know, so advertise your real price and don't advertise this fake, you know, price. He said those were the two minor problems. He had the auction site thing and the way they advertise a cash discount price that isn't realistic on the internet. And they put it quote unquote front and center. I don't know if they still do that or they changed a little bit, because this is side by side, obviously. anyways, be that as it may, I looked at them and I like their order process. I like that they're the biggest, so that you know that they've got some customer service behind them, regardless of what this Yankee Marshall. The price was right, and it's pretty straightforward. I'm out the door for this car. I paid $317.24, as you see here. No tax, no shipping. Very, as we see, ships free. Yeah. So yeah, that's I liked it was simple to order. I liked it, like I said, they're popular, and I like the way they handle the FFL system, which kind of confuses me a lot. But basically, they have a bunch of, you put in your zip code in, when you go to order, and they have a bunch of FFLs listed, like most sites. But I guess the different thing about them is they've got several, like they'll have the top 5 or 6 are highlighted in green. And it says right there in like some text on the page that if it's highlighted in green, you do not have to notify that FFL when you order from us. It's specifically, you make sure to point that out. You do not have to notify that FFL. Which, I don't know, that just confuses me. I ordered a gun one time before and I didn't do the notifying thing. I don't know why, I forgot. There was some issues. They didn't have the FFL of the place I shipped it to on file. They didn't apparently endeavor to get it. They just left my order in limbo. Blah, blah, blah. I had to end up, it was very hard to contact them. I had to end up kind of calling both my FFL and them, and eventually got it straightened out. I can't complain too much because it was a really good price, and they shipped me a nice brand new gun. So the other place was SMGA, Smoky Mountain Guns. But yeah, the thing about buds is, yeah, they have these, and there was like about 6 available to me, these green FFL dealers that are basically like pre-vetted, I guess. And I really like that. I think I'm not sure, but I think they said that if also if they're green, we have their FFL already on file and all that stuff. So I really liked that. It makes it super simple. You don't have to contact them. You just pick them and go. They're sort of preferred FFLs, which I know isn't a new concept, but the way they explained it and everything just made it clear to me, and I really liked it. And I also saw 2 reviews of the particular FFL I chose, which tells me that somehow they were like reviews on buds of that dealer. So that tells me 2 people at buds have already bought guns there through that dealer. That tells me they already have the FFL on file, so that I don't have to worry about that whole mess like I did on my last order, where I ordered something. It turned out they didn't have my dealer's FFL on file. They didn't really notify me of that fact or anything. They just let the order sit, and it took like it took like a week to get all that straightened out. And I had to straighten it out basically and get the dealer to send them the FFL. They didn't really make much effort to contact the dealer at all, evidently. Like I said, I can't complain about SMGA too much because they've got bottom barrel prices on guns. So to me, it's kind of like, what do you expect? And like I said, they sent me a brand new, fresh, the lube fresh on that thing, AR. I understand if you're dealing with a discount place, maybe you're a little worried about getting a used gun or something. No, this thing was new, crisp and new as heck. So I can't complain too much about SMGA, and I imagine they've improved a little bit too. But yeah, that's why I went with buds. I don't care what Yankee Marshall says. He may be right. It didn't happen to me, though. He may have a legit gripe, but I liked that their process was easy, that they're free shipping and everything, all that business. And I like the way they handle their FFLs, with the green highlighted FFLs being like the preferred FFLs, and the one I use anyway happened to be on there. I really like it. It seems very, very simple without having to contact them. And I believe it. I'm not positive. I think the green also means that they have the FFL for that dealer on file as well. I think that they said that. I'm not positive. But yeah, one thing to note is I'm wondering how quick they will ship it. We'll see. They haven't. I ordered it today. I think it was about 2:30, 3 in the afternoon, so it was a little late. So they sent me a couple emails, oh, we got your order type of thing, but they didn't send me any email saying it's shipped. And I believe if you go on the website, their order status actually says not yet shipped on it. So they didn't ship it today. I'm assuming they will tomorrow, or they may even take a couple days. I don't know. We'll see. But So far so good. I like the ordering process. I like the price. I like the no taxes and free shipping. Can't beat that. I like the FFL process. So we'll see on it. It looks great right now. I like their website and how easy to use it is, and the fact they're big, so that they probably have all the FFLs on file and all that business. So yep, that's why I went with the Kahr CM9. The price is right. Got it for $317. It's the tiniest 9 that of a major brand that I see. It's a little tinier than all the other tiny 9s, which is a big deal to me, maybe not to you. It's smaller than, like I said, the LC9. It's kind of significantly smaller than the M&P Shield. The M&P Shield is a little bit category up of a beefier gun, and I do like a lot that the Shield holds 8 rounds, but you can't have everything, I guess. This one only holds 6+1, which still isn't bad. You're looking at 7. The only thing I don't like the Kahrs, I also really like how they look for the most part. The only thing I really don't like is how this mag on them sticks out a little. That's weird to me. Just don't love that. I don't know if you can get a little base plate that covers that, and even what I've seen, the base plates still make it look weird because now you've got like this base plate sticking out. It doesn't really make it flush with the handle like you'd expect. Usually like the base plate just comes to here. So now you've got a base plate sticking out instead of a metal thing sticking out that I've seen on the base plates on the car. So that doesn't, to me, it doesn't help any with the looks. Like I'd want one that extended out to here and made it like flush with the grip, basically. But whatever, it's a very small detail there. I don't mind too much. It's the only quibble I have with the look, and I didn't even notice it until somebody on a message board posted it out. And yeah, I guess I don't necessarily love how this trigger grip is a little weirdly rounded. It's probably better for concealment, but I love the two-tone. I love the lines of the gun besides that. I love it. Love how it looks, just absolutely. So we'll see when I get it. I'm very happy to have it. As I say, the only issue I have with it is a truck gun is that the capacity is going to be low, but this is going to do double duty. It can be both a concealed gun and a truck gun. So I'd rather have that than have an option of having a concealed 9 than have the setup where I have a big truck gun and my little 380 for concealed, and that's it. And I'm not, I want to keep my number of guns brought down, as I was discussing at the beginning of this video. I don't want to own 10 different guns, So you could say something like, well, just buy the double stack for your truck and have this and the LCP to carry. But no, this is going to have to do double duty. It's going to have to be my truck gun and a possible concealed option. So, but yeah, like I said, capacity is too low for truck gun status. I mean, not too lower than I'd like, let's say. I'm obviously still going to use it as my truck gun. But I may put it, and I believe it only comes with 1 mag to help keep the price down, which is kind of a bummer too. That's one really nice thing about the Shield. It comes with 2 mags, a 8-rounder and a 7-rounder. That's really nice, but still, all things considered, I may have to get another mag, so I've got some extra ammo other than 6 rounds for using it as my quote-unquote truck gun. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. I like it. I think it's going to do what I want it to do. And that's my video.